No one expected the room to go silent that quickly. 1 second, the atmosphere felt light and relaxed, filled with laughter, flashing cameras, and the usual polished energy that follows a Hollywood interview event. Then Jamie Dornan said a sentence that instantly changed everything. "I loved her all along." The words hung in the air for a moment, and suddenly the mood inside the room shifted from casual entertainment to complete emotional shock. What stunned fans most wasn't just the phrase itself, it was the way he said it. Dornan's tone sounded unusually sincere, stripped of the humor and playful deflection he normally uses whenever conversations become too personal. There was a brief pause before the statement, almost as if he realized how much weight those words carried before finally letting them out anyway. And once the clip reached the internet, people immediately began asking the same question: who was he really talking about? Naturally, fans instantly connected the confession to Dakota Johnson. After years of intense speculation surrounding their chemistry during 50 Shades of Grey, audiences have never fully stopped believing there may have been something deeper between them behind the scenes. Every glance, every interview, every emotional interaction between the two actors has been analyzed endlessly by fans who remain emotionally invested in their connection even years after the franchise ended. The moment happened during a conversation about career-defining relationships and the emotional impact certain people can leave on your life. At first, Dornan seemed comfortable discussing the topic in a general way, reflecting on fame, pressure, and personal growth. But when the interviewer referenced Dakota Johnson and the intense years they spent filming together, something visibly changed in his expression. The room reportedly grew quieter almost immediately, as if everyone sensed the conversation had suddenly moved into far more personal territory. Then came the confession that triggered an online meltdown. Dornan spoke about how certain people enter your life during moments that permanently change you, and how those emotional bonds never fully disappear. Before anyone could fully process where he was going with the thought, he quietly added the phrase now dominating social media: "I loved her all along." No clarification followed immediately, no explanation, no attempt to soften the emotional impact of what he had just said. Within minutes, clips of the moment spread everywhere online. Fans replayed the footage repeatedly, studying every tiny detail, the hesitation in his voice, the expression on his face afterward, even the reactions of people sitting nearby. Some viewers insisted the confession sounded romantic and deeply emotional, almost like years of hidden feelings accidentally surfacing in public. Others argued it could simply reflect friendship, admiration, or emotional connection formed during an unusually intense period of life and career. But regardless of interpretation, one thing became undeniable: the moment felt real. In an industry filled with rehearsed interviews and media-trained responses, audiences immediately recognized something raw and unscripted in Dornan's delivery. That authenticity is what made the clip explode so dramatically online. People weren't just reacting to gossip, they were reacting to emotion. Part of the reason the confession hit so hard is because Jamie Dornan has always appeared emotionally guarded in public. He rarely discusses deeply personal feelings, especially regarding Dakota Johnson, knowing how quickly speculation can spiral out of control. Over the years, he has carefully maintained a balance between acknowledging their strong connection and refusing to feed romantic rumors directly. That restraint became part of his identity, which made this sudden emotional openness feel shocking by comparison. Meanwhile, social media turned the moment into full Hollywood mythology almost instantly. Dramatic edits appeared within hours, pairing Dornan's words with emotional music, slowed-down footage, and scenes from 50 Shades that fans believed now carried new meaning. Some viewers described feeling genuinely emotional watching the clip, convinced they had just witnessed a hidden truth finally slipping into public view after years of silence. Interestingly, the lack of immediate clarification only intensified the chaos. Dornan did not explain precisely who he meant or what kind of love he was describing. And because the statement remained emotionally open-ended, audiences projected their own hopes, theories, and fantasies onto it. For longtime fans of Jamie and Dakota's connection, the ambiguity became irresistible. At the center of everything lies a simple but powerful reality: people are deeply drawn to emotional honesty, especially when it appears unexpectedly. Whether Dornan's confession referred to romantic feelings, profound friendship, or nostalgia for an unforgettable chapter of his life almost became secondary. What mattered was the emotional vulnerability audiences suddenly believed they witnessed. Because for one brief moment, Jamie Dornan stopped sounding like a carefully managed celebrity and sounded like someone speaking directly from the heart. And judging by the internet's reaction, fans truly were not prepared for what they heard. As the clip continued spreading across social media, the emotional reaction only became more intense. Fans weren't simply watching Jamie Dornan's confession anymore, they were emotionally experiencing it. Millions of viewers began dissecting every second of the moment, searching for hidden meaning in his voice, his expression, and even the silence that followed after he said, "I loved her all along." And the more people watched it, the more convinced many became that something deeply personal had just slipped into public view. Naturally, attention immediately shifted toward Dakota Johnson. For years, fans have believed the connection between Jamie and Dakota extended beyond what audiences officially saw during 50 Shades of Grey. Their chemistry always felt unusually natural, and their interviews often carried a warmth that viewers struggled to interpret as purely professional. That long-standing fascination is exactly why this latest moment exploded so dramatically online. Some fans argued that Dornan's confession sounded like the emotional release of feelings he had buried for years. According to these viewers, the sincerity in his voice felt impossible to fake. They pointed to the way he paused before speaking, the softness in his expression afterward, and the almost uncomfortable silence inside the room once the words landed. To them, it looked less like an actor giving an interview and more like someone accidentally saying something they had kept hidden for far too long. Others strongly disagreed, insisting the internet was once again blurring the line between emotional friendship and romantic fantasy. They argued that intense professional experiences often create lifelong emotional bonds, especially when two actors spend years working together under enormous public pressure. From this perspective, Dornan's words reflected affection, gratitude, and emotional closeness rather than secret romance. But interestingly, even skeptical fans admitted the moment felt unusually real and emotionally charged. That emotional authenticity became the true reason the clip dominated online conversation. In Hollywood, audiences are used to carefully managed interviews filled with safe answers and polished media training. Genuine vulnerability appears rare, which makes even small emotional moments feel amplified when they happen unexpectedly. Dornan's confession didn't sound rehearsed or strategic, it sounded spontaneous. And spontaneity is what made fans believe they were witnessing something truthful. Meanwhile, social media transformed the moment into full cinematic drama. Emotional edits flooded platforms within hours, pairing Dornan's confession with romantic scenes, behind-the-scenes clips, and emotional music designed to intensify the narrative fans already wanted to believe. Every repost made the moment feel larger, more dramatic, and more emotionally significant than before. Eventually, the internet stopped treating it like a simple interview quote and started treating it like a hidden chapter of an unfinished Hollywood love story. What made the situation even more powerful was the absence of clarification afterward. Neither Dornan nor Dakota Johnson rushed to explain the statement publicly. That silence created a vacuum where imagination quickly took control. Fans filled that space with theories, emotional interpretations, and fantasies about what the confession really meant. And once the internet emotionally commits to a narrative, it becomes almost impossible to slow down. At the center of everything lies one undeniable truth: audiences are still emotionally invested in Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson after all these years. The fascination never truly disappeared because people continue seeing something emotionally unfinished in their connection. Whether real or imagined, that feeling remains incredibly powerful for fans who followed their journey from the very beginning.